Yeah, I wanted to pull back from the spotlight for a little while, just I guess kind of reassess my whole career, you know what I mean?
Welcome to the channel. Smash that like button and hit subscribe because this mess just turned the music world upside down. There's a full-blown storm shaking up the industry, and guess who just lit the fuse? Eminem, the king of clapbacks, the legend who never bites his tongue, has finally come out swinging. He didn't just drop bars, he dropped truth bombs. Stuff folks have been whispering about in secret rooms. M said it out loud. And this ain't some petty rap beef or throwaway diss. Nah, this time he's going for the jugular. He's calling out the system, the shady sides of the business that most are too scared to touch. So what exactly did he expose? Who's catching these verbal punches? And why are so many folks in the game suddenly looking real nervous? Let's get into it, because what M just did might change everything. This one's loud, it's gritty, and it's dragging out secrets that have been hiding in plain sight for way too long. This ain't your average celeb clash. It's way deeper. We're talking lies, ego, and a risky game being played at the very top of the music food chain. But before we break down what just went down, you gotta understand where Eminem is coming from. This moment didn't come out of nowhere. It's been brewing for years. His history with the industry, Complicated doesn't even begin to cover it. He's been moving on his own code, clashing with powerful players, and watching the game from the sidelines. Until now. M's relationship with the music biz has always been icy. Sure, he's one of the highest selling rappers ever, but the suits at the top, they never fully welcomed him in. And that's not some mistake, that's his choice. M didn't show up to be molded by the machine. He came to wreck the machine and rebuild it his way. From day one, he was calling out fake agendas, hidden deals, and shady censorship. He never played nice, and that made people nervous. His rise wasn't handed to him on some fancy label platter either.
You should have started this motherfucking interview with that one.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
Why would I start it with that? We're getting close to the end. You start to get a big bangers at the end.
Back in the late 90s, M was just grinding, broke, and spitting wild rhymes on the Slim Shady EP, a project he dropped all by himself. That raw tape ended up in Dr. Dre's hands, and Dre, he took a gamble on this wild, unfiltered white rapper who didn't hold anything back. This wasn't some slick industry rollout. Nah. This was a straight-up gamble by one legendary producer who spotted raw, unfiltered talent and said, let's do it. Dr. Dre took that chance, and boom, the Slim Shady LP dropped in '99 and exploded. But it didn't blow up because the industry rolled out a red carpet. It blew up because fans had never heard anything like this dude before. While labels were out here polishing up bubble rap for radio spins, Eminem came in with bars about addiction, broken homes, real-life trauma, and savage humor. And he made no apologies, no filters, no fake shine. He didn't fit into their little boxes, and he didn't try to. Almost overnight, M became a controversy magnet. Politicians were panicking, parent groups were shouting, and media outlets lost their minds. But it wasn't just outsiders pressing him. Folks inside the industry were sweating too. Label execs were getting hit with pressure to censor him, mute the chaos, and turn him into something safe for the public. But M, he wasn't having none of that. Tracks like The Way I Am and White America were his middle finger to all of it. He came straight at award shows, music networks, and record execs, calling names, dropping receipts. His message was loud and clear. I'll say what I want. If you don't like it, don't buy it. And just like that, the tension with the industry's gatekeepers went sky high. The industry was torn. They couldn't deny his star power, but they definitely couldn't control him. Eminem saw the game for what it really was, a two-faced system that raked in cash from his brutal honesty, then tried to tone him down the moment things got too real. Even when he was breaking sales records, the love from the industry felt fake. Yeah, they gave him awards, but the respect, nowhere to be found. He won Grammys, sure, but he also straight up boycotted the ceremonies more than once. In 2004, M skipped the show completely, despite being nominated in multiple categories. Why? Because he wasn't buying the hype. In interviews, he called it out. Those awards weren't about talent, they were about politics. It was all about who played nice, who kissed up to the right people, who looked the part. M didn't want anything to do with that fake handshake culture. He dropped hints everywhere, in his unreleased track Grammy Shady, and in raw lyrics from We as Americans and Like Toy Soldiers. One thing was clear, he didn't trust the suits handing out the trophies, and he definitely didn't need their applause to know his worth. For Eminem, the real trophy wasn't a gold statue, it was impact. Instead of waiting around for the industry to hand him a seat at the table, he built his own table. In 1999, with his manager Paul Rosenberg by his side, M launched Shady Records, and that move changed the game. This wasn't just a business play, it was a power move. Shady Records gave him full control over his vision, no filters, no label puppeteers, and it gave him the keys to bring up his people, not who the industry chose. He put his weight behind 50 Cent, Obi Trice, D12, and later on, Slaughterhouse and Yellow Wolf. M wasn't asking for permission to shape hip-hop, he was writing his own rules. While labels were chasing bubblegum pop rap and radio-safe hooks, Eminem stuck to his roots, dropping raw, gritty stories with sharp-edged bars that cut deep. Even his biggest chart toppers came with pain, rage, and dark truth. Stuff you don't get when a bunch of A&R teams are hovering over your shoulder trying to play it safe. And let's not forget, M's kept the same small circle for decades. Paul Rosenberg, Dr. Director Denon Porter. No revolving doors, no industry flings. That tight loyalty says everything. He never trusted the industry's parade of flashy managers, phony PR teams, and yes men trying to shape him. Let's be real, Eminem has never kept quiet about how he feels when it comes to the big shots running the music game. For years, he's been taking lyrical swings at the suits, the shadowy figures behind the scenes who control the narrative, shape fake images, and chase profits over realness. Across album after album, he's made one thing crystal clear. The industry don't want originality, they want clones. And M, he refuses to be anybody's puppet. Even on Kamikaze in 2018, M came out swinging again. No soft comebacks, no playing nice. He took aim at mumble rappers, phony award shows, and the fake love that the industry dishes out when it's convenient. He let everyone know he's still watching, still listening, and still judging. But don't twist it. Eminem's not anti-success. He's not against money moves. He's just never let the bag control his message. He knows what the game really is, a business, one that can hype you up one day and chew you up the next. His whole career has been a wild balancing act. Global fame on one hand, total independence on the other. He's worked with the industry when needed, but never for it. And every time he's felt disrespected, misrepresented, or straight up played, he's fired back the only way he knows how, with savage bars and raw, unfiltered truth. If you really want to get why Eminem's always kept his guard up around industry power players, you gotta look at his personal code. This man runs on zero tolerance for lies, period. He's got a code of honor, and he sticks to it. You might not agree with his delivery, and sure, his words can cut deep, but one thing's for sure, he never fakes it. He speaks his truth, brutally, publicly, and without fear. For M, being real isn't just a style, it's the core of everything he stands for. And in a business where being fake gets rewarded, that makes him dangerous. That's why some gatekeepers see him as a problem, because they can't control someone who's got nothing to hide. From day one, Eminem used honesty like a weapon. He didn't hop on tracks flexing about flashy cars and iced out chains. Nah, he aired out the real pain, his addictions, his messed up childhood, mental breakdowns, family drama. He owned his past and dared anyone to say it was for clout. There was no glossy image being built in some back room. What you saw, that was it, raw and unfiltered. Songs like Cleaning Out My Closet, Rock Bottom, Mockingbird, and Stan weren't made to chase radio play, they were made to bleed truth. Eminem never ducked behind metaphors or sugar-coated bars. He called out everyone, his mom, his ex-wife, himself. That kind of raw exposure is rare, especially in a genre where most try to play the hero. He didn't paint himself perfect, he showed the mess, the flaws, the dark stuff nobody else wanted to say out loud. His albums tell that story loud and clear. On the Slim Shady LP, he introduced a wild alter ego that said the things most rappers wouldn't dare say. Then on the Marshall Mathers LP, he ripped into celebrity worship and the industry's fake moral compass. By the time Relapse and Recovery dropped, M was straight up detailing his addiction battles, relapses, and the ugly price of fame. All of that clashed hard with the industry's polished, image-driven artists, folks out here faking stories or playing characters just to move units. M refused to play pretend. And while his disses are legendary, there's a method to the madness. He's not out here chasing drama for clout. He only swings when he feels someone's crossed the line, especially when they blur the line between real and fake. Take Benzino, for example. As co-owner of The Source magazine, dude had a platform, and he used it to try and tear down Eminem's credibility. That move, it set off one of the most savage rap feuds in hip-hop history. Behind the scenes, things got messy. There were whispers that Benzino wasn't just beefing, he was jealous. Real talk. Folks said he was using the Source magazine's rating system to push his own agenda. Shady moves all around. Eminem fired back hard with tracks like The Sauce and Nail in the Coffin, calling Benzino out for faking street cred just to stay relevant. Then came Ja Rule, and things got personal. Not only did Ja diss M, he crossed a serious line by dragging Eminem's daughter into it. That flipped the switch. M saw Ja not as a threat, but as another industry-built act trying to sell a thug image he couldn't back up. His clapbacks, especially the ones with 50 Cent and D12, weren't just lyrical warfare, they were takedowns of a whole fake persona. Then there's MGK. That beef had layers, no doubt, but what really set M off was the fake rebel act. In Rap Devil, MGK tried to play the underdog going after the king, but M wasn't buying it. He saw a PR stunt in disguise. His response, Kill Shot, was pure destruction. M broke down MGK's contradictions, dragged his career choices, and made it crystal clear, you don't come at him with fake smoke and expect to walk away clean. With M, it's never just a diss, it's a full-on exposure. If he thinks you're faking it, he will pull the mask off and do it loud. Eminem's been crystal clear, he can't stand the fake stuff in rap. Doesn't matter how many records you sell or how big your name is, if you're out here playing a role, he's not impressed at all. In a 2010 interview with Rolling Stone, he straight up said he's always been about keeping it real. When he sees someone putting on an act, his reaction, how do you even write like that? He's talked about it before, how some artists create a whole fake image for social media, smiling for cameras and doing the tough talk, but behind closed doors. It's a totally different story. That kind of performance, acting like you're from the struggle when you never lived it, that's the exact thing he's been fighting against from day one. That's also why you rarely catch Eminem mixing with Hollywood types. No red carpets, no clout chasing, no hopping on every viral trend. He keeps his distance for a reason. His zero tolerance for lies doesn't stop with the rappers he disses. It goes deep, even with the people closest to him. If you're in his circle and you break that trust, that cut hits different. Just look at his bond with Proof, his best friend, his brother in arms. When loyalty's real, M holds on tight. But when it breaks, there's no coming back. D12's Proof wasn't just a group member, he was family. When his life was tragically taken in 2006, it shattered Eminem on every level. M said it over and over in interviews. Proof was his anchor, the one who kept him grounded, checked his ego, and told him the truth no matter what. Losing him wasn't just personal, it was a massive hit to his entire world. That's why M stays ride or die for the people who were with him before the spotlight hit. Names like Dr. Dre, Paul Rosenberg, and Royce Da 5'9", that's his real circle. And if someone from that trusted crew turns fake or shady even a little, it cuts deep. For M, trust is currency, and once it's gone, no do-overs. That's why when he feels betrayed, whether it's from the industry or someone close, he doesn't just move on. He turns that pain into fuel, whole tracks, whole albums. He makes sure the world hears it. But here's the real twist. This industry runs on smoke and mirrors. It doesn't just promote stars, it manufactures them. Behind the fame, contracts, branding deals, image control, labels decide what gets said, how it gets said, and who's allowed to say it. Fans see the surface, but underneath, there's a whole machine pulling strings, and Eminem never let them pull his. Eminem's never stayed quiet about the shady side of the music biz. In fact, his whole career has been built on pushing back against that exact machine. This chapter, it's all about pulling the curtain all the way back, exposing how the industry handpicks winners, silences others, and keeps the system running smooth, even if it means killing off creativity, truth, and real voices. Let's start with the basics. The music industry's got a whole toolkit for shaping success, and one of the dirtiest tools, ghostwriting. That's when an artist's bars are secretly written by someone else, but they get hyped up as lyrical geniuses anyway. In pop music, sure, it's common. No one flinches. But in hip-hop, where bars are sacred, that's a straight-up red flag. Eminem has always penned his own lines. Every bar, every rhyme scheme, every punchline, that's not ego, that's principle. In his world, ghostwriting ain't just lazy, it's fraud. It's pretending you lived something you didn't, spitting words you didn't write, and claiming a crown you didn't earn. And he's called out rappers who play that game. acting like lyrical kings while someone else does the writing. Then there's payola. Yeah, labels sliding cash under the table to get songs on repeat on radio. Fake spins, boosted charts, manufactured hype. Eminem's never played that rigged game, and he's made sure everyone knows it. This is where things get twisted. What looks like a hit might just be a budget line in some label's marketing playbook. Eminem's rapped about it before, mocking how easy it is to buy your way onto the airwaves. You don't need bars, just the right budget and a marketable face. And when it comes to image crafting, that's where labels go all in. A lot of artists don't get signed for their talent. They get picked because they're easy to package. Some don't write, don't produce, don't even know the game. They're styled, trained, coached, and pushed out like products to fill a marketing slot. Sounds wild, but it's not a conspiracy. It's standard business, and it's everything Eminem has fought against from the very start. And if the promo games are smoke, the contracts are straight up fire. Labels dangle upfront money like bait, big-looking advances that are really just loans with interest. Most artists don't own their masters. They can't drop music when they want. Some can't even use their own stage names. Worse, some of them are locked under gag orders, can't speak out, can't share the truth. And when they try, they get slapped with lawsuits or straight up blacklisted. Eminem dodged most of this trap because he came in under the wing of Dr. Dre, not the system. That move, it changed everything. With Dr. Dre and Interscope backing him, Eminem came into the game with more power than most. But even that didn't protect him from the industry's tight grip. He's talked openly about the legal hoops he had to jump through, the pressure to stay in line, and how execs constantly tried to reshape his sound to fit a cleaner, safer mold. He's rapped about it too. The censorship, the pushback, the non-stop boardroom meetings where they tried to tone him down. On The Way I Am, he let it all out. They tried to shut me down on MTV, but it feels so empty without me. That line wasn't just clever, it was real. They wanted him to be less sharp, less controversial, and more mainstream friendly. But M never folded, and that refusal to play nice, it came with consequences. He faced bans, lawsuits, and constant attacks from the media, all for being himself. One thing he's especially gone after is the industry plant. Artists who seem to pop up out of nowhere, looking grassroots, but actually built in secret by labels. These acts get sold as real to fans, but behind the scenes, they've been styled, trained, polished, and carefully placed into the spotlight. It's no wonder Eminem can't stand that. He earned every inch, from Detroit battle circuits to rock bottom struggles, from addiction to being rejected over and over. He didn't get placed, he fought his way in. Eminem earned his stripes. Every battle, every bar, every bruise. So when the industry starts handing out praise to performers who didn't write their own lyrics, didn't grind, and never struggled, yeah, it hits personal. He's never held back about this either. On Kamikaze, he came for the new wave, calling out mumble rappers and label-built artists who, in his eyes, are chipping away at the soul of hip-hop. And not because they're young or blowing up, but because the truth is missing. That raw, unfiltered honesty that built the genre in the first place. For M, that's not up for debate. It's non-negotiable. Sure, he's seen massive mainstream success, but even with the spotlight on him, he's always backed the independents, the ones who stay true, even if it costs them spins, streams, or shiny awards. He's praised artists like Tech Nine, who built his own empire without playing the label game, and he's uplifted voices like Royce da 5'9", who stayed solid through every era, never folding for fame. Eminem knows what it feels like to be told you're not marketable enough. That's why he fights to protect the spaces where real bars, not industry politics, come first. Through Shady Records, he's tried to build that freedom for others, a lane where lyricism leads and fake agendas get left at the door. This is where everything clicks. Eminem's recent statement, it wasn't just a jab at one person, it was a warning shot at the entire system. And honestly, the signs were there the whole time. For decades, Eminem has walked a razor-thin line between chart-topping success and straight-up rebellion. He's made millions, sure, but he never sold out. And that's not just talk, that's how he built his empire. From the jump, M's been playing chess while the rest of the industry played checkers. He's watched artists blow up quick, then crash even quicker. Not because they weren't talented, but because they handed over control. He's seen contracts wreck careers, labels butcher albums, and fake storylines replace real struggles just to keep the machine running. So when Eminem calls someone a fraud or says the system's broken, people pay attention, because unlike most critics shouting from the sidelines, M's lived it. He's seen the game from the trenches and from the top, and he survived both. Now the question is, what finally made him snap? Who pushed it too far? What move crossed that invisible line that made Eminem stop holding back and finally speak out loud? Because when he speaks, the whole industry feels it. Pressure points. Eminem doesn't speak without purpose. When he talks, it's surgical, and fans know the pattern. When he drops a name, it's a calculated hit, but when he doesn't, that silence can scream even louder. That's what made the lead up to his latest industry call out so wild. The energy shifted, his tone got sharper, his bars hit harder, and that silence, it started saying way more than actual words. M's never been the type to do every interview, but when he does speak, it matters. And after 2018, the vibe changed. It was less about promotion, more about pressure. The smiles faded. The edge came back. In a rare 2020 sit-down, he peeled back the curtain, talking about how exhausting it is to stay real in an industry that constantly throws shortcuts and spectacle at the top. He didn't drop names, but he didn't need to. The message was loud. There are big names out here who didn't earn their spot. And the worst part, they know it. And then came that line. People think I'm out of touch, but I see everything. That hit different. It wasn't casual. It wasn't off the cuff. That was a warning shot. And his fans, they caught it immediately. Something was coming. Somebody was being watched closely. Over the last 5 years, Eminem's tone has gotten colder, more precise, surgical. The wild voices, the goofy skits, gone. What replaced them is something way more serious. Calculated intensity, no wasted motion. Take Zeus off music to be murdered by Side B. M gives props to a select few newer artists. Big Sean, J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, but look closer, a lot of today's chart toppers were left off that list. And with Eminem, that silence ain't by accident. If he doesn't say your name, it's often louder than if he did. Even his shout-outs started hitting different. He wasn't just tossing out compliments, he was drawing a line. He praised the ones with bars, pen skills, authenticity, the exact things his whole legacy is built on. The unspoken message? If you're not on that list, maybe you didn't make the cut. Fans noticed everything. Reddit blew up. Twitter debates took off. YouTube reactions started breaking down lyrics like code. People weren't just hearing tracks, they were investigating them. Phrases like he's trying to say something and this feels bigger than just a diss started popping up everywhere. Because with him, a few missing names and a colder tone can mean one thing. Something major is brewing. This wasn't about clout. This was about principle. And fans could feel it in the air. Eminem was gearing up for something major, something heavy, something he'd been holding back for way too long. And now, the bomb has dropped. Eminem is done staying quiet. He's finally calling out what he sees as the music industry's biggest fraud, and fans are shocked by how direct he's being. Trust. If you thought he was holding back before, not anymore. For years, M's taken shots at the power players behind the scenes. But now, he's going straight for the Grammys. No more hints. He's flat out calling them what he believes they are. Rigged, a scam, a pay-to-win circus. In both interviews and tracks, he's made it clear. He doesn't trust them, and he's done playing along. This beef ain't brand new, but the heat behind it, way more intense now. In one of his most savage critiques, M even said he'd have no problem losing to someone he respects, like Kanye West. But being used for promo, that's where he draws the line. He claimed the Recording Academy brings him in, splashes his name all over the headlines just to boost ratings, and then hands the trophy to someone else. Every single time. And now, he's calling all of it out, loud and unfiltered. In Eminem's own words, he's not a competitor. He's bait. And now, new reports are exploding with connections between his latest comments and long-standing whispers about none other than Jay-Z and Beyonce allegedly getting special treatment behind Grammy doors. Eminem didn't drop names directly, but fans and insiders didn't miss a beat. Sources close to M are backing it up, claiming that top-tier artists, especially the Carters, have benefited from behind-the-scenes deals, private talks, and quiet power plays. His refusal to return to the Grammys, combined with that sharp tone in recent bars, feels like a direct shot at the whole machine, a system built to protect the elite while real voices get silenced. But it didn't stop there. At a recent award show, cameras caught Eminem and 50 Cent looking heated, locked in a tense exchange with Jay and Bey. You could feel it. The energy was off. M and 50 were seen saying, "Your award gatekeeping ends now. The truth's coming out." And Beyonce, she fired right back, yelling, saying they were talking BS, until Jay-Z leaned in and whispered something to calm her down. No mic picked it up, but the body language said everything. And then M turned to 50 and said, "It's over for them. I'm telling the world." But what do you think? Is this just about awards? Or is it a battle for control, truth, and realness in an industry built on illusion? Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and share this video, because the story is far from over. See you in the next one.